Hi, this is Laptop Radio. The topic today is tokenizing Porte and Maritime with Port Token. I'm here with the CEO, Jeff Catalano. And hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing great, Michelle. Thanks for having me on.
So, Jeff, what is your story?
Well, we decided to launch a new project here that's blockchain based, and it's a fintech company we're building. It's called Payment Port, and we had issued a token, a utility token called Port Token. And the idea for the Port Token was to tokenize asset and transfer of value. Basically, we are tackling the cross-border payments market and industry, and our niche market is maritime and the shipping industry.
Sounds awesome. And I'm just curious about how you come up with the idea.
Sure. Well, I'm here based in Panama, and the Panama Canal is in our backyard. So about a year and a half ago, when I started my due diligence on the industry and wanting to launch something in blockchain and DLT, I looked where the largest area for disruption was locally here in Panama, and I saw that the canal and the thousands and thousands of corporations that surround the canal and have product moving in and out with trade cargo, global trade cargo, needed a more modern resource for payments. Majority of this industry is very traditional, very legacy, and most of these corporations and freight forwarders pretty much use the SWIFT system and going to their bank to make all of their cross-border payments. So we wanted to kind of come in and modernize, well, first educate, and then modernize and help digitize this industry and bring Port Token as a utility token for them to use on our platform, our payment gateway that we're building, for all of their cross-border payments.
That sounds really good. And like, what is your vision? You know, I met you at is this San Diego Comic Con?
San Diego, yeah. CryptoCon, sure.
Yeah, CryptoCon. And I spoke there and we met, and you were, you know, I thought it was a really interesting idea.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, and I understood it immediately because of my history background.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I taught AP history, and I you know, and I think ports are really important because it's really the center of trade.
It is. It's the center of global trade worldwide, for sure.
For sure, yeah. And you know, knowing about blockchain, you know, and with your background, you know, what is your vision with cryptocurrency and blockchain, and how it would disrupt, you know, the maritime space?
Sure. Well, my background, I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur, so I come from many different business sectors, starting in the fashion industry. I was apparel and accessory manufacturer, designer and manufacturer for many years, had owned and operated my own brands. And then I got into the restaurant business and also real estate. So through the years, I myself experienced the pain points of going to banks and sending ACH, you know, global payments worldwide, and you know, experience the long delays and the high cost of doing so, and the error that's usually associated with these. When I started studying blockchain and distributed ledger technology, I thought this is fantastic. And so I looked for a platform, I looked for a protocol, a network that I thought was going to be a great place to start and to build from. And so I found the Stellar Network. And I thought the Stellar Network protocol was really special. I thought it was a sleeping giant within the industry. It's a public blockchain, it's decentralized, it's open source technology, and it's perfect for startups like ourselves to actually build our technology on top of the Stellar Network. So they're payments driven, they're payment focused, and it was the perfect place for us to launch our new platform, which is Payment Port.
And I know that you started this about a year or a year and a half ago when like advising you on the project. And
Sure.
it's been a long time, so I just want you to really share about, you know, like just really your experience in bringing this project forward, because, first you're located in Panama. And two, of course, Panama is a good location for trade. But, it's not Silicon Valley. So,
Right, absolutely.
yeah, so I think your story is a little bit different from, all the founders are in the Valley.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we are unique. It's a very special place here in Panama. It's obviously was the financial hub for many, many years of the Americas, and it still is. It's coming back, and so new technology. There's a new government that just took office here in Panama, and they're very open-minded for new technologies and disruptive technologies such as blockchain and DLT. So we decided to kind of spearhead the movement here. There are some amazing blockchain companies based here in Panama that we did get on some amazing partnerships and create some alliances. With Chainzilla is one here in Panama that's actually come on board as a technological advisor for the project, and it's been working out really great. So yeah, so Panama, it's not Silicon Valley. It's difficult in the regards to reaching the fundraising specialists, like in California, like in Northern California. Generally, there's meetups happening every week. There's great events happening all the time. So it's a little difficult from Panama. We have to spend more money and more time to kind of stretch our wings and go abroad. And I just came back actually from 30 days roadshow abroad in Asia, which started at the Rise Hong Kong event, Rise Summit in Hong Kong, and spent a lot of time in Thailand, Cambodia, and finished in Vietnam at the CoinTime Summit. So that's pretty much the way that we really network and create our business development and global alliances, is getting out there. So it's difficult as a startup. We've been bootstrapping the project for the first year, and recently we've had an angel investor come on board for some gas in the tank. But of course, money is spent very quickly in this industry. Marketing, promotions, it's very extensive, and you have to spend money to get noticed in this industry. Where most of the big protocols kind of come out of China or Silicon Valley.
Yeah, so Jeff, I know that you have a family. So I met your beautiful
Yes.
wife, and really, really cute child.
Thank
How
you.
do you balance, working on a token project and, of course, spending time with your family?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I have a great wife who's also very talented and helps us with our project on our marketing team. And we live a unique life. We had left the U.S. in 2012 and moved to Panama. We actually live on a small Caribbean island chain at the north end of Panama, right at the Costa Rican border. So we do live kind of an unorthodox life. So I have a very open-minded wife who's supportive of me and my travels abroad globally, as well as here in Panama. We have a small office in Panama City, and I go back and forth from Panama City, where where Payment Port is based, and back to the Caribbean side of Panama. So yeah, just keeping an open mind, very supportive. My daughter's amazing. She's 3 years old, and obviously supportive of her dad, and loves to travel as much as possible with us. And yeah, just kind of keeping the family circle close, and keeping our vision of the future. Family is the major connection that keeps us moving forward.
I'm sure. And with family, of course, in the blockchain space, most of the time, community is really, really important because,
We
yeah,
are.
because you want the community to support you on the project. And, they're basically the backbone of the project, right? Um,
Sure.
so I wanted to ask you a little bit about, family and, the extended family, which is really the team. So does your team consist of a mix of business blockchain
Sure.
developers, technologists, marketing, and financial people?
It does actually. Yeah, we've been really blessed to have a great team of advisors and our core team as well. Most of which have been around blockchain since probably 2014, 15. And but we have finance specialists on our team that have worked for legacy banking, traditional finance, and we have some great marketers and web and graphic designers on team. So yeah, we've got a real international mix. We have people from San Francisco, East Coast, New York, Los Angeles, abroad in India and in China. And yeah, we're really, as well as in Panama, obviously. So we're a global family, and we get together as much as possible at events and summits. And thank God for technology, because we're able to stay in contact on a daily basis. And yeah, so our team is our extended family, and then our community that we're building now is our extended family, which continues to grow globally.
And that I think that sounds awesome. So with that village of people who are helping Port Token, what is the problem that you're trying to solve?
Sure. Well, we're trying to create, we decided to create a niche market first. I mean, obviously, the payments industry is a huge, huge market, and it's a major area that's needed for disruption. And there are obviously a lot of protocols working on solutions in payments, most of which have had success pretty much at the central bank and commercial bank level, and not really trickling down to the SMEs. We really wanted to focus on a niche market, and that is, again, the shipping and maritime industry. This legacy industry, it's such a massive industry, and there's so much capital that does move around. But again, most of it is done very traditionally, and not efficient and not profitable. So we decided, let's tackle one of the largest industries, payments, and let's pick out one of the largest parts of that niche market, which is shipping and maritime, and let's go in and try to create this education process. So first of all, on our website, we are building an e-university where we'll have tutorials and educational videos. So our future users will be able to educate themselves on blockchain, on the token economies, how utility tokens will work on our platform, and just the DLT and these technologies in general. Once we have them a little bit more educated, then we can start our test netting with a handful of MOU clients that we're working towards right now, and get them on board and show them that these modern technologies such as DLT can really increase the efficiency of their business, and also try to bring their bottom line up by reducing their payments and pain points, and allow them to kind of gain more of their time back. So we want to give people time back. We feel that time is such a precious thing, especially in small businesses as well as in families. And so if we can, shave off a little bit of extra time for these corporations, these enterprises, to spend more quality time with their family and with their passions, then we think we've done our job.
So with that problem, why do you think, I guess you answer my next question, which is really, why is Port Token important? And I guess to save time, to improve efficiency.
Right. And reduce costs, obviously.
And reduce costs, yeah. Okay, and then
Sure.
Can you tell us how your ecosystem work? How do different players interact in the Port Token ecosystem? How does businesses use the ecosystem? What kind of roles do people play? How does it work?
Sure, absolutely. So first thing is we are a couple weeks out from our MVP on our first product, and that is our web wallet. So we created a web wallet. It's called Bifold. So this is a non-custodial wallet that we offer our users. So right now we are building the payment gateway. So our website is launched, and future users will be able to sign up for future accounts with us for paymentport.com. And what they'll do is they'll basically sign up, and then they'll establish a account with us. And then what we'll do is we will fund a wallet for them. And that is, again, a non-custodial wallet that they can purchase with fiat, with debit card on platform. And we will convert that into the Port token. And they can basically store their Port token online, or we recommend, obviously, off their Port tokens and storing them on a hardware wallet. offline. And then when they're ready to make transactions, they will come back onto the ecosystem and bring their port tokens into the platform. And then based on the amount that they need to transfer, two things. They can basically transfer virtual assets. We'll be supporting BTC, Ethereum, and XLM, as well as one stable coin. And that's probably going to be a Stellar-based stable coin, like Stronghold's stable coin. And basically, they will make the transactions on platform utilizing the port token. So the port token will be transfer of value. And we're still finalizing the exit side of the platform as far as the off-ramp. And right now we are starting to talk to the Stellar Development Foundation and also some of the stable coins that are used on the Stellar ecosystem. And we are also just making that decision to partner up with one of these stable coins for the actual transfer part of the transaction. So people have kind of asked about the volatility in virtual assets. And so Port Token is a utility token. It's supposed to be used as that transfer of value. But what we'll do is we will do a swap with the Port Token and a stable coin at the time of transaction. And then we will off-ramp to supported bank accounts. That's through supported open bank APIs, as well as the users will be able to transfer the assets that I mentioned to their wallets. Yeah, that's pretty much how the ecosystem will work. We have some interesting also mechanisms built into that we're working on. One is a burn mechanism. So the port token tokenomics, basically the token economy is a deflationary token strategy, so that majority of our circulating supply will be used on platform. And when we do make these transactions, those particular tokens from those transactions will be burned, and we will have a reducing supply, circulating supply, down to a firewall of 200 million tokens. So once we do reach that firewall, we will stop the burn mechanism, and there'll only be 200 million circulating supply of port tokens available.
Sounds awesome. And do you guys have competitor? Who are your competitor?
Well, I mean, there are a handful of protocols that are working on payment solutions. A few of them are on the Stellar network already out of Europe. So we don't really look at it as competitor. We look at alliances and how we can all work together to create future interoperability and ways for us to kind of create our own smaller highways that eventually will be interlinked and interoperable with the main net. So as far as competition, you know, there are large protocols such as Ripple out there focused on payments, obviously, but they are, again, more focused on larger central banks, commercial banks, and some of their partnerships with payment processors. You know, we again want to bring our technology down to a more of an SME level, more kind of put the power back to the people and small businesses. Stellar Network as well, obviously Stellar itself and the Stellar Development Foundation continue to work on amazing strides in payment processing and remittance worldwide. So we will be working closely with the Stellar Development Foundation to basically harness all their new technology and new updates to try to use the Stellar network as much as possible and use the legacy traditional system as less as possible. So we're kind of bridging the past legacy system for what we need to stay working within bank accounts for users who do want to off-ramp into bank accounts, but we want to use the Stellar public blockchain network for as much of the transactions as possible online.
Awesome. That sounds really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like Stellar. I mean, disclosure though, I do own a little bit of their coins.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like we were working on a blockchain payments project in 2015, and you know, I think Stellar is an awesome, and this is just my personal opinion, is a awesome blockchain for payments. projects.
Yeah, and it's kind of a sleeping giant. We feel it's like a sleeping giant. Most of the industry, most of the retail traders and token economies are generally, the last few years, obviously, Ethereum's kind of led the way in ERC20 tokens and the ICO craze of the last few years. But we didn't want to jump on that bandwagon. We wanted to really utilize the best protocol that fit the needs of what we wanted to build, and we just saw that as being Stellar. And
Yeah.
Stellar is it's a very interconnected network of devs and technologists, and a lot of that retail world doesn't really support Stellar. They don't own XLM, and which is a shame because we feel at some point Stellar is going to rocket. And people will say, wow, I always knew about Stellar, but I never jumped on it. So yeah, we stay very behind Stellar, and we know that, with the partnerships they have with IBM and some of the other large partnerships that they've achieved and some of the work that now they're doing with STOs and stable coins, we feel that they're going to have some major future movements in the payments game.
Yeah, this is not investing advice, by the way.
No, just a strictly my own personal
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah, I mean, from a technology perspective, I think
Sure.
Stellar is an awesome choice. And I'm glad that you chose Stellar. I don't think I did not influence that decision.
No.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, that was one of the reasons. I was like, oh, this man knows what he's talking about, because he chose Stellar instead of, Ethereum or,
I
some of the
know.
other blockchain, especially for payments. I mean, I thought that was
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some other good movements. I think Komodo's doing some good things.
Mhm.
Cardano's doing some good things. So there are other protocols that are making good movements in the payments or remittance area of blockchain. But we feel that, again, Stellar is the place to be, and we're happy to be part of the family.
Yeah. And just want to talk a little bit about your target audience.
Sure.
So who are going to be some of your partners and customers that you would envision using, the products?
Sure, absolutely. So ultimately, again, our niche market is the shipping and maritime industry. So our target demographic of our initial customers is ultimately freight forwarders, 3PLs. So a lot of third-party outsourcing has been happening in a lot of industries. Automation, obviously, and outsourcing is a big part of a lot of enterprise strategy nowadays to reduce their overhead and their costs. So even in the shipping industry, it's the same thing. So a lot of major shipping companies and major factories and businesses that use the shipping industry are outsourcing third-party logistics companies. So basically, these 3PLs will be a big target. So we've been in contact with a handful here in Panama, and our goal is ultimately to create some MOUs over the next few months. And again, once our platform is in test netting mode, we will start testing with some of these 3PLs and prove ourselves to them, and then move a little deeper into their payments needs. So yeah, the freight forwarders is a big area. And then again, the small and medium-sized enterprises that are sending monies abroad. Let's say people are a importer of fashion goods or of telecom or technology, and here in Panama they import millions of dollars worth of products through the canal every year. Most of that money does need to go back to Asia. So we're trying to create a bridge from Panama to Asia, and that would be Hong Kong and Singapore, India, the Philippines, Indonesia, and mainland China. So again, we want to set up, and we're going to walk before we run. So our plan is to move by jurisdiction, and it'll be probably 2 to 3 jurisdictions to start. Again, some of these major meccas of where payments do need to be sent to and remit to. And then we're going to move accordingly worldwide. The open banking APIs is something that's just starting to kind of grow, and there are not a ton of jurisdictions that we can connect to that are supportive yet. So this is something that we're continuing to do business development on, and try to continue to align ourselves with different regions. In October will be our next roadshow going to Dubai for the World Blockchain Summit. in Dubai. So we'll be speaking to government officials there, people in the maritime and shipping industry there, Dubai smart cities. So, ultimately maritime and shipping is our niche market, but ultimately we'll be ready to assist any type of enterprise that needs a more efficient way to send payments abroad.
Um, that sounds awesome. It just I just remember in a lot of the history books, of course, transportation, maritime, shipping. Um, I mean that includes airplane and cargos. Um, it's super important. Um,
Sure.
yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that you're disrupting that industry and making the process a little bit more efficient for that community. Um,
Sure.
so for the project itself, what kind of partnerships do you want or do you foresee in the future? So who should contact you in terms of partnerships?
Sure. Thank you. Well, we are fundraising right now. Like most startup projects, fundraising is always an issue. And, since we've only raised angel capital so far, we are fundraising at the moment. So we are looking for funding partners that have value to bring outside of just capital, that may have resources in the maritime or shipping industry, or public resources at the government level, or the monetary authority level. Um, Obviously, we welcome Silicon Valley investors to the table. And again, people who can help incubate our project. We are a startup, and it's difficult because we're tackling one of the largest industries. So where a lot of other projects are maybe in data transfer or social media or gaming, and have a little more accessibility to capital, it's a little bit difficult because we do have a very perimeter kind of niche market that we've created. And most investors that we've spoken to are all, we've talked to some of the biggest firms and hedge funds, and they like what they see. They like our vision, and it's like, well, once you're production ready and you have partnerships in place and revenue streams, let's talk. But ultimately, we're looking for partners that can really see the vision that we have for long term, and we think 5 to 10 years down the road. We're not looking for just a token economy. We are looking to build our token economy as a vehicle right now for fundraising, as well as brand building and partnership building alliances globally. But ultimately, our enterprise with Payment Port is our main focus. So yeah, anybody who can come to the table with great value and resources, we would love to speak to.
And in terms of partnerships, in terms of the business partnerships, in the shipping and maritime industry, how do partnerships look like? And what kind of like companies do you think you could partner with outside of funding or outside of incubation? In terms of like real partnerships that could move the company forward. Do you
Sure.
partner with, shipping companies? Do you partner with, um, you know, uh, airplane companies? What does that business partnerships look like?
Sure. Well, ultimately, as I mentioned before, the freight forwarders are a big part of the payment structure um, for large shipping companies. So that is one of the things that we are working on now. So rather than reinventing the wheel, we're looking at the top 10 3PLs here in Panama. And these are the third-party logistics companies, freight forwarding companies. And we're approaching them. And so far, most of the ones that we've spoken to do not use these disruptive technologies. They've heard of blockchain, but none of them that we've spoken to actually utilize these technologies. So we decided, rather than creating a competition factor that, we're coming in to disrupt this industry, and rather than trying to just create a competition of the past and the future, we said, let's try to partner up with some of these large freight forward companies and bring our technologies to the table. They already have the customer base. They already have the know-how and years of experience in this type of industry. And we would ultimately bring our technology and our efficiencies to the table to kind of create this synergy. So we think that's our best foot forward for local partnerships. And once we do achieve that with one or two good partnerships here in Panama, we want to replicate that abroad in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Shanghai, and Rotterdam and the major ports globally.
Sounds awesome. And what is that one advice you would like to provide to the larger community? And it could be about anything. It could be about startups. It could be about building a token company. It could be about how you came up with your idea. You know, so for everyone who's listening to you, what is that one advice?
Yeah, I would just say stick to your dream. I've said this before in other interviews, and I mean it because you know, I'm an entrepreneur through and through, and I became more of a technologist over time, but I'm not a developer. I'm not an engineer. So for me, it's just believe in something, set a goal and go for it, and don't worry about the capital. And there's always going to be capital needed in every single business, and you know, do it yourself as long as you can. Try to partner up with as many great alliances that you can that can help your project along, but never give up. You know, grit and passion is what makes any entrepreneur successful, and working with a good team. So surround yourself with amazing people that can offer assistance and value, and just keep doing what you do, and eventually it will happen.
And where could folks learn more about Port Token?
Sure. You can follow our public Telegram community, and that is t.me/payment, PAYMENT, port, PORTE, payment port. So Telegram/payment port. And you can also go to paymentport.com, just like I spelled it, payment, PORTE.com.
That sounds awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
Hey, Michelle, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.